Talking to Marine Corps veteran Scott Patterson, founder of Tumble, which is modernized laundry, let's say. Scott, got some good things to talk about. Before we do all that, take us back. Tell us what you did in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for having me on, Joe. Um, so I joined the Marine Corps 3 days after my 18th birthday. Um, I actually was going to go to Arizona State and play lacrosse and be a political science major. But kind of towards the end of my senior year of high school, I decided I didn't want to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked into the recruiting office and I said I was only going to join if they let me be infantry.
Yep.
And so yeah, so he was very happy, gave me a educational bonus and a whole whole bunch of other stuff. Because I was, I had good grades and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, so I joined the infantry. Um I actually joined on a reserve contract. So this is a very nuance of 2008 when I joined.
Uh-huh.
I joined on a reserve contract. I ended up spending 3 years on active duty, um, almost immediately. So,
Huh.
going through the pipeline, going to boot camp, going to SOI, immediately getting activated and deployed, coming back, doing some other kind of random stuff, did recruiting, did like, I don't know. They had me doing all sorts of random things.
Yep.
But by the time I got back from Ramadi, I really wanted to go to college.
College doesn't seem so bad anymore, huh?
Yeah, college wasn't so bad. So I finished wrapped up everything with active duty in order to drop back to the reserves. Um joined into that whole lifestyle, which was very weird for me. Um and I went to college. I went up to Chico. I had a friend who was up there going to school, and Chico's in Northern California. It's a
Mm-hmm.
state college, one of the gajillion state colleges in California.
Yeah.
Um, and originally, I wanted to be a firefighter paramedic. I think is what I decided on. Um, and so I took an EMT class, and then in order to become a paramedic, you have to take physiology. And in order to take physiology, you have to take chemistry. Um, so I took the chemistry class. I really enjoyed it, and decided to go get my degree in biochemistry. All the while still getting activated and deployed and sent all over the place. So, um, which was a lot of fun, to be totally honest. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Um, so I got through kind of the end of college. Took solid 4 years, and I actually decided I was going to be pre-med. Got kind of the end of college, and as you can probably figure out, I was pretty burnt out on college
Yep.
after doing the whole thing. So I had an opportunity to go to MARSOC. Went through assessment selection. Unfortunately, didn't get selected at the end of all of it. So then I kind of returned back and was like, well, what am I going to do? And got a great job at Genentech as a chemist, making monoclonal antibodies, which are, very popular these days.
Yeah. Everybody knows what those are nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah. So originally for monoclonal antibodies, the only thing that we could get as an industry them approved for was cancer drugs.
Hmm.
And they were very effective. Genentech did a fantastic job with those treatments, pretty widely used. And at that time I was kind of like, yeah, I got a good job. It's probably time to get out of the Marine Corps. I'd been in for 9 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that I had to go to Japan. I said I had to go to Japan. So I got involuntarily activated and sent to Japan, which ended up being a pretty good gig. I was a ops chief for one of the line companies, and
Uh-huh.
got to do some pretty cool training. Got a lot of leeway to create training packages that ended up being pretty cool. and some of them were actually very cold because we were at Mount Fuji in the winter.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so while I was over there, my buddy had started at Accenture as a consultant, and he was kind of my first um, exposure to startups. Really, he had
Mm.
a startup, a fitness startup, um, that they ended up not being able to raise money for, but had kind of been around and seen the story and heard the story and talked to him about it. And so he started at Accenture and he said, hey, like Accenture is pretty cool. They have a military program. You should interview for it. So I actually drove out of the field while I was in Japan and took an interview at 3 a.m. Um,
Zoom.
back in Mainside. And basically it sounded like I had the job, right? It was sounding like I had a job waiting for me when I got back. Um, Drove back out the field, completed, everything, came back. And the idea was that, there was going to be like a month of time where I would be back and then I would get out of the Marine Corps and start this job. And so my friend in San Francisco was very kind. He said, you could sleep on my couch for that month till you're on your feet and everything. I was like, fantastic. So got back and the job did not materialize quite as the way that they said.
Uh-huh.
In fact, the start date ended up being October instead of March. So I slept on my friend's couch for about 6 months. And it was a good, we're very good friends and he was very kind to let me do that. But sort of in the interim, that's when sort of Tumble came to fruition. That's where the sort of idea was. And if you ever lived in a barracks, you know what shared laundry is. You've used the shared laundry rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in the military, there's like rules. I in the Air Force, I hear there's very nice rules where they'll even fold your clothes and do all sorts of crazy stuff. But I feel like in the Marine Corps, it was more like you just don't touch other people's stuff, and like if it's done, like go find the person and they'll come and get their stuff or whatever. But
Yeah, you don't want to be folding your buddy's skivvies and
right,
or just
yeah,
or just take it out of the dryer and dump it on the floor.
yeah. But if you did that, I will literally throw you out of the window. So, um, that was the whole thing. And so I got to San Francisco, and not only were we paying like $5 a load of laundry, like $3 a wash, $2 a dry, but it was just a free for all. And like these machines were just broken all the time. The card systems never worked. Like even if I wanted to pay, I couldn't. And I was like, this is, and like, there's no customer support. You can't get a hold of anyone to fix anything.
Yep.
And eventually the card system that you use to load up your card got stolen out of the wall of this apartment I was living in. And so for like 6 weeks, I had to use a laundromat around the corner. And that was it. Like I was like, I don't care what I have to do, but I'm destroying this. Like this is the most ridiculous thing ever. And so
So sleeping on the couch was no big deal, but having to do laundry in the laundromat, that's where the problem was.
well, I mean, I literally watched a homeless guy come in after like a rain, and he opened up someone's dryer as it was going and threw his wet, dirty
Oh.
stuff in with all of that person's clean stuff. And it was quarter driven, so I had to find quarters. Like it's like there's just like one thing after another
Yeah.
where I was just like, how? And this is 2019, like this isn't even that long ago. Like, how in 2019 does this even exist? Like, how is this even a conceivable way of doing business and living right now?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did kind of a marketing, I was going to go be a consultant at Accenture. So I was like, all right, like, let me knock some dust off of here and do like a market analysis. And I did a market analysis and it was huge. I mean, the market's just huge.
Huh. Interesting. Wow. All right. Hold that thought. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Hey, back talking with Marine Corps veteran Scott Patterson, founder of Tumble. All right, so Scott, you're you're having a big pain point doing laundry. You're like, I'm gonna disrupt the laundry industry and modernize all this stuff. You did your market analysis. You're like, holy cow, there's an
Yeah.
opportunity here. So walk us through the steps of how you entered the laundry industry from there.
Yeah. I mean, so the first part was just research, right? Like the numbers. So first of all, the governing organization for this industry is called the Coin Laundry Association. So immediately off the bat, I was like, okay, this whole thing is so old that the governing body
Still has the word coin in
still
it.
has coin in
I
it.
had no idea there was a governing association for coin operated laundry
Yeah.
facilities.
I mean, if you go look at like the NAICS code for this stuff, it's called coin operated laundries.
Really?
Yeah. I
The
mean,
mixed
the
code
whole,
is like that's like a government, that's like the government list of different codes for all the industries of business that are out there.
exactly.
Very
Yeah.
official government publication or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
The
I mean, it's
IRS
how
too.
like banks categorize industries and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so I was like, okay, I can't be the only one that has this problem. So I would walk around San Francisco and meeting people, and I'd ask them, I'd be like, hey, like, how do you do laundry? And most of them were like quarters, and they're like, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, here we are, supposed to be in this like tech mecca of the
Yeah.
world, and people are doing their laundry with quarters. Um, and so yeah, so I kind of put together this feature set, pain points. I talked to like hundreds of people, and there was very consistent feedback. Like, they want to be able to see which machines are available. They want to pay with a credit card. They want to be able to get notified when things are done, and they don't want other people to touch their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is basically the feature set that I went out to build. So very quickly incorporated the company. It was originally called Clarified because I thought that was like, like a good name. Like, you're gonna clarify clothes, but then everyone was just like, it's clarified butter is what came up over and over again.
Yeah, that doesn't ring laundry. Tumble. How'd you come up with
Right.
that one? That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Tumble. I mean, it's one of those things that you just kind of go through and talk to people, and, you know, Tumble came up, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty good one.
Huh.
So, um, yeah, filed a trademark, got our product going. Even started kind of some pickup and delivery ideas early on there. And, I ended up raising like 50 grand from friends and family.
Mhm.
Um, and put a straw man room together. And the best part is, like, with the straw man room, we got our first contract, and it was supposed to be installed in
Straw man
April.
room. What's a
Yeah,
straw man room?
it's like, it's an example, right? So it's probably not a scalable.
Like a minimal viable product. Like,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
you had laundry machines in a room somewhere.
that was app driven. Like, you could
Okay.
download an app and you could use those machines.
Oh, okay, cool.
Um, if I wanted to use that system in another building, it wouldn't have
Uh-huh.
worked. So
Yeah.
for that one room and that experience that we were trying to build, that's what we got going.
Okay.
And so I got a contract for that one property, and the install was supposed to be April of 2020. So I had started working at Accenture, was doing kind of Tumble on the side, just sort of the product development, and had some developers kind of working for me. Had a product development company here in San Francisco doing some of the hardware stuff. And we got that thing together. Then March 15th of 2020, San Francisco is in a lockdown because of the COVID pandemic. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wrote it off, to be totally honest. I was like, this probably not a great time to start a startup. Stock market's crashing,
Yeah.
everyone's in lockdown, world's ending.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ended up working, and I got bored after about a week of working pretty hard, and I started teaching myself to code. Started tinkering with hardware myself. Um, Bob Wall, who's now our CTO, was an advisor at the time. So I would talk to him about, hey, how do I do these things? How do I, what are some of the coding languages I should learn? You know, for the system that we've talked about and architected, like what would be good tests? And so I just taught myself. I literally just like got a Code Academy membership, and every evening, every weekend, I'd clickety clack away on my computer and learn a little bit more and get a little bit more advanced, and eventually got to a place where I was just, good enough to be dangerous. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And in July, or about June, I took a vacation and I started emailing investors again. And one of those happened to be Peng Ao, who is the founder and CEO of Veritas, one of the largest property owners / managers here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So my deck kind of went across his desk. And in July of 2020, something that none of us ever thought would have happened, a coin shortage happened. And overnight, quarters disappeared. 80% of this industry is driven by quarters, and overnight,
I remember that going on. Like all the drive-throughs were saying, we need coins. Like what caused that? Just a side effect of the COVID shutdown?
I have no idea. So
Okay, yeah.
The theory that sounded like it's plausible, like don't quote me on this, but like because people were mostly paying with credit cards, the circulation of coins stopped. And since the circulation of coins stopped, there was no distribution. Like literally, like all the coins that you had, because you're staying at home and you're sitting there, they stayed at home with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that made coins basically disappear.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, that sounds plausible. I
Sure.
not a treasury expert. So they had 300 properties. They had started canceling all their contracts with the incumbent companies because they were so tired of them, and they were installing quarter machines. And then all of a sudden there's no quarters. So they basically were like, hey, like, can you do a few properties or 10 properties? We have 300 properties. And I was like, yes, let's start with a couple. Let's start. I had 3 washers and 4 dryers at that time. I was like, let's start with a couple properties.
And
so
the mechanism, like the functionality or the black box that you had on your washing machine and drying machines, like you were able to get that manufactured somewhere, or
no, I was doing it myself. I actually was soldering it all together myself at that point. Yeah.
Was it just credit card, or was it like,
no, it was after. I mean, it was credit card. So we used Stripe as the payment processor.
Yeah.
But it was an app. Like you literally, there was like a little app that you could download and enter your credit card information, and it would start the machine.
Really? Could you do like the Apple Pay, Wi-Fi stuff?
Didn't have Apple Pay back then. We didn't have Apple Pay. And we didn't have notifications. Those were the 2 things that in that sort of early phase. But you could certainly see if the machines were available before you went, and you could certainly pay for them with a credit card. And so, and we had a locking mechanism, so you could lock the dryers, which kept closed secure.
Mm-hmm.
So with those 3 things, we solved 75% of the pain points that we had talked about. So, very easy to go to market with that. And it was bumpy. It was bumpy to scale into multiple buildings. I think David and I joked about this on my podcast, where I think a lot of people got some free laundry for a few weeks as things weren't working. But then, then it took off. And so we were able to raise some more money. Hivers and Strivers, which is a veteran focused fund, invested, as well as the PenFed Foundation and State of Goff kind of led that one. And so we got like 200 grand. That allowed us to buy some more machines. And then we kind of scraped by and got another investment, another investment. Now we're in hundreds of buildings, thousands of users. We're in all of California, Texas, Chicago, and now New York City. So from 3 washers and 4 dryers to a whole different thing.
Really just a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, it was really over the last probably year, I would say, that we've really grown. It took a long time for us to fundraise. No one was going to invest in my crazy laundry idea. in 2020 or 2021.
And that was mostly
So,
the COVID thing that was holding you back, right? Everything was
well,
off, or was it the idea?
in 2021, there was a lot of money circulating, but it was all very much focused in sort of certain industries, right? And so Web3 was kind of the hot thing. And I had a laundry company. So, and on top of it, like I'm a first time founder. There's a huge hardware component to this. There's, they look at this and say, oh, this is capital intensive. You got to buy the washers, you got to put the hardware in, blah, blah, blah. If you do the math, this is like one of the best businesses out there. So for me, that was always kind of the solace of like, look, like they just don't understand. And that has nothing to do with me and this business. Like,
Yeah.
it's more about their ability to see opportunity than me.
So how big is we don't want to call it coin operated laundry industry, but public laundry industry, whatever you may, whatever.
So on paper, they call it 5 billion a year. If you apply in all the unreported earnings, I'm sure it's far more. If you also layer in commercial laundry and pick 'em delivery, that adds quite a significant amount. But I think the key here, and this is what we're working on at Tumble, is these rooms are everywhere, right? And they're wildly underutilized. Laundromats are wildly underutilized. A good laundromat turns 5 times a day. So a machine in a laundromat will spin 5 times a day. That means that there's like 19 hours that the machine is doing nothing. So
Yeah.
for us, what we're building is a way to utilize these rooms better. And we think that's through pick up delivery. And the whole idea being like, I don't like doing laundry. I run a laundry company.
I don't mind doing laundry. I just don't want to do the folding.
See, that's all
That's
part
the
of
pain
it.
point.
Yeah, I just throw it on the ground. That's how I deal with that. But so the whole thing is like, if there's a convenience and a price point where no one will do laundry, how do we get to that convenience and price point? How do we get that consistent quality? How do we build software to do that? And that's as 100% what we're doing. We've launched pickup and delivery, a beta program here in San Francisco, where we have people, residents of our properties doing other people's laundry. We're bringing in outside loads from busy people, parents, professionals, people who have budget to, it's literally not worth their time to do their own laundry.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have people that are able to work from home, which has typically been precluded from gig work. And it creates a whole new economy. It creates a whole new way for people who are maybe stay-at-home moms that need to generate some extra cash, or not even stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home parents, right? Maybe people that are, just maybe they have a physical disability that doesn't allow them to do some sort of outside work. So this is opening this whole new opportunity using these rooms, these very underutilized assets. And it's a win-win for property management because it drives more revenue through these things.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the only company that has the data that's able to show where the excess capacity is. Like if you live in our building, Joe, I would be like, Joe, I know you're going to go do laundry Thursday at 5:35 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and you're a creature of habit. So you're probably going to do that every single Thursday at 5:35 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
We have about a 90% confidence interval. So
Huh.
with that, we're able to very much be like, okay, well, that means before 5:30 and after, call it 7, we have all this open availability. So how do we fill that?
And you can fill that by someone who does it, someone else's laundry. And
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, think about the Marine Corps. Like, if you're on the ship's laundry, you're not doing your own laundry. You put it in a bag and you get it back in a bag, all matted up. Half the time it's not quite dry. I mean,
It's funny. So I spent 11 years in the Marine Corps. I never set foot on a Navy vessel.
I was on a few ships for short periods of time. I never did an actual MEU deployment, but I mean, everybody around me was doing them too. So yeah, ship's laundry. You got to have your name and last four of your SSN on the back of your uniforms and everything. So, and then Iraq, Afghanistan, you drop your laundry off at the contract laundry place and get it back at the day or the next day, exquisitely folded and pressed.
KBR.
Yeah, it was like a luxury
Yeah,
doing your own
absolutely.
laundry in Iraq,
Well, so
Afghanistan.
the real problem is that we had to bring our laundry to where the laundry's done, right? So
Yeah, depending on where
like
you
you had
were.
to bring it to Camp Ramadi to get your laundry done, which
Mhm.
means you basically would have a M wrap full of just bags of dirty laundry. And then you'd bring it back to people.
Sounds like a barn, yeah. And then I mean, a couple places that I was stationed, like I was at the basic school, you could drop your laundry off at the local laundromat, and these ladies would
Yeah.
do your laundry for you and fold it all up, and you pick it back up on Sunday afternoon when you come home or whatever.
Yeah. What
Uh,
is it? K Town or something like that at
yeah, Q Town.
Q Town.
Yeah,
Right.
Q Town. And then when we had four teenagers in the house, we've at one point I figured out every one of them was using a different towel every time they took a shower. My wife had like, she's like, this is going to be 16 loads of laundry. I'm literally going to have to be doing laundry all throughout the weekend to get this done. And I'm like, you know what? Let's take it down to the laundromat. We'll drop it off. It costs like 120 bucks or something.
Yeah.
Freed up a whole weekend. Totally
Yeah.
worth it. And so every once in a while we would get, if we got behind on a laundry program, we'd take it down there. So yeah, having other people do laundry is definitely worth the while, especially the folding. I hate the folding.
See, I just don't do it. I'm just,
It's just if you could invent a way to do your laundry where it would somehow come out folded and already on hangers or folded, then you would be a multimillionaire.
well, I mean, so that's the direction, right? So I
Yeah.
think that the fact that we take up square footage in a house for a laundry room is insane. I think the fact that we take up square footage in an apartment, I mean, we're talking like 10 square foot. I mean,
Yeah.
like that could be 10, that's like, I mean, it's probably more than 10 square feet. It's probably more
Well, I remember
like four, it's probably like 16 square feet.
like early on in college, I quickly determined laundry was a huge ass pain, and I could not take the
Yeah.
time or the pain to do it. So or to go to a public laundry. So every place I ever had in college and thereafter, I made sure I had hookups for a washer and dryer. And that summer I was working at a moving company and we were moving some people out and they're like, yeah, laundry washer and dryer for sale. I bought for like 150 bucks. I bought a washer and dryer. I
Yeah.
always had my own washer and dryer thereafter because I was not go to a public laundry.
Yeah.
Just no way. The time consumption was just a killer.
Well, I mean, but like even having it at home, like you said, you actually
Yeah.
don't get away from the time problem.
But
So
at least you're in your own, your own place. Or I mean, it was just a huge convenience having it in your own place. But
right.
yeah, there was still the pain factor of the laundry.
So for me, like I think we get to a place here where we don't even have in-unit washers and dryers, right? Where it's so normal. So if you go literally anywhere else in the rest of the world, you're not doing your own laundry. Like
Really.
it's very common everywhere else to send your laundry out. Only in the United States are we building, $30,000 laundry rooms so that you can have a folding table and like those stupid jars with the soap in it. So like with the problem in the United States is its convenience, its price, and its quality.
Mm-hmm.
And none of those are consistent wherever you go. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to standardize all of that and put it at a convenience and price point that people would literally be like, yeah, I'm not doing my laundry. Like I am going to go to dinner. I'm going to go spend time with my kids. I'm going to go make money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go like the opportunity. So the average American spends 225 hours a year doing laundry. Women will spend 325 hours doing laundry
in a year.
Yeah. So there's a chore gap is what it's called between men and women.
Yeah.
And the opportunity, if you make more than $20 an hour, it's literally not worth your time to go do your laundry.
Yeah. But like my wife does all the laundry. I mean, she complains about it, but anybody else jumps in, tries to do laundry. It's not good enough. I mean, she does phenomenal laundry. She's
Quality.
Great folder. She's really good at it. So no one touches the laundry except her. But
right.
but she can work it. She can work it in and time it where she got to load in the washer, load in the dryer. She's going to do this other thing, and then she's folding while she's watching something on TV, and it just kind of all gets integrated with whatever else she's doing, and she's just good at getting it done. But um, you know what else is ridiculous about laundry is washers and dryers.
Yeah.
You've got these phenomenally complex electronic washers and dryers that do all this crazy stuff. No one ever uses any of that. A washer sloshes your clothes around in soapy water and spins the water out, and a
Yeah.
dryer spins and applies heat. That's
Right.
all it is. And you get all these fancy electronics up there just so they can charge you $2,000 for a washing machine. I mean, it's totally unnecessary.
Well, and they're consumable. So like commercial machines are totally repairable. You can replace pretty much everything in it.
Mm.
Um, a consumer machine is not like that. You almost never repair them. You have
Because
to
of
get a
those
new one.
fancy electronics.
Right.
If you buy like a simplified on off one or two option machine, those are, and over the years, when I had my own washer and dryer, I figured out how to take the thing apart and replace the bearings on the drum, and the dryer
Yeah.
bad, or replace the pump at the bottom of the thing that makes it twist around on the washer. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done all that, but the fancy electronic stuff, you can't touch that. If something goes
Right.
wrong, you could take a power surge, things fried.
Yeah. And so I mean, but that is the way that things are going, right? If
Mm-hmm.
Elon gets his way, right, and we have self-driving cars and all this stuff.
Self-cleaning
Um,
laundry. Yeah.
well, no, if anything that is dirty, dangerous, or dull is going to get automated, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing more dull than laundry.
Oh yeah.
So what is going to happen, and this is not speculation, like this is what's going to happen, and I can tell you that because this is literally what we're building,
Hmm.
is that the price point of sending out your laundry is going to drop. And it's literally going to get to a place where you're going to look at your $2,000 set of washers and dryers, and you're going to look at pushing a button on Tumble, and you're going to be like, why the hell would I replace these things? It's not worth my time. It's not worth the upfront cost.
Really.
It's not worth any of this.
So
So
in a lot of locations, like right now, in a lot of locations, can you get your laundry done via Tumble? Somebody
it's
comes.
only in San Francisco right now. So like I said, it's a beta test.
That's what
But
you're aiming for.
our target is a price point that everyone would use, and we're currently doing an hour and a half turnaround time.
Hour and a half, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes an hour and a half for the washer and dryer to cycle through. It's pretty quick, yeah.
Right. Because if you manage like the pickup through an on-demand logistics company like DoorDash or Nash or any of those, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
means you push a button, someone's literally coming to your door, they're picking up that laundry. They're taking that to our facility where there is a waiting person ready to do it. That's immediately going into a washer. It's
Yeah.
running through our process because we own the machines, we own the process. And it's coming right back out, getting folded and sent right back to you.
Because all this is already happening in the dry cleaning industry. Dry it's been in the dry cleaning world for a long time, but most people don't view their regular clothes as being something they would send out. But people send out dry cleaning all the time.
People do send out dry cleaning, yeah. So dry cleaning and typical wash and fold is done in plants. So what happens is there's usually a truck that drives around, does a route.
Uh-huh.
They will spend all morning or whatever picking up stuff that then gets driven off somewhere, right? In New York City, it's getting driven off to like Queens or like even upstate further away, somewhere where land is cheaper. It's getting done and then it's getting returned the next day as that driver is doing that route again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the break of that system. Whereas for us, we have laundry machines across the street from our consumers. Right. So we just need someone to literally carry the laundry across the street.
Oh, okay.
And then it's done and it comes right back. Right.
Wow.
So, and that is no one has ever brought online all of this excess capacity. Because that was like step one with Tumble is like bring the machines online.
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. We brought the machines online. Well, what can we do with this? Oh, wow. Well, look at all this excess capacity. How do we take advantage of that? And so the realization was that this is really working from home and it's gig work and it's side, it's a new income stream for these people that basically have never had another one.
Yeah. So you went into it. You went into the laundry business thinking you were going to fix one thing and discovered the
A
excess
much
capacity,
much larger opportunity.
much bigger need and opportunity, which was people. Yeah, you're modernizing laundry, but the real pain point is people don't want to do laundry to begin with.
Yeah, it's literally not worth your time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
I
that
agree. Not worth my time.
headline. Doing laundry is not worth your time. Literally go do anything.
There's your tagline right there.
Yeah, go do anything else besides laundry.
Right, man. All right. So, well, we've gone past our time already just talking about laundry. It's hilarious. But so how do we find out more about Tumble?
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's tumble.to. Or you just literally Google us. We're like the first thing that comes up when you Google Tumble Smart Laundry. You can find us on LinkedIn, Tumble Laundry. Find us on Twitter, Tumble Laundry. Find us on Instagram, Tumble Laundry.
Cool.
Pretty much everywhere.
There's already an app we can download, and if you've got laundry facilities nearby, you can see how the whole
Yeah
works.
So the app really only works for the buildings that we provide for right now, unless you're part of our beta for pick 'em delivery. If you want to sign up for that beta, you can go to our website. There's a button in the top right hand corner that will take you to a form to sign out.
Okay.
And we are growing that quickly. So
Interesting. All right.
wherever there's demand, we will find supply.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Scott, and you're full time with this now. You're not working for
Oh
Essential.
yeah, I'm in the office. I mean, this is
Your own laundry office. So
yeah.
you're all in with entrepreneurship now at this point. If you're talking with somebody that's on their way out of the military, just get out recently, not like in corporate America, looking to get into entrepreneurship. They got some ideas. What kind of advice comes to mind?
Go talk to people. I mean, go validate. The simplest thing you can do is go talk to people and validate your idea. Right. So one of the things that kills me, right, is you get some officer. It's always an officer. They get out, they go get their MBA from Wharton, right? They're like, I'm going to start a business so I can be my own boss. One, that's already a problem.
Yep.
That attitude is you're already fucked up. So what you need to do is go find a problem that you can monetize the solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can go do that and then you find a real need, and the only way you find a real need is by going and talking to people. So
Yeah.
go find a problem and then build a solution. Do not build a solution to find a problem.
Yeah. Don't try to convince somebody they've got a problem that they don't really have. Yeah. I've done it myself, and I see it all the time. So it's good advice. And sometimes, like Henry Ford, that quote, he says, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have told me they need a faster horse. Sometimes people don't realize laundry is a huge problem for them until you present the solution to them. They're like, no, I'm not talking about a better washer and dryer. I'm talking about never doing your laundry ever again.
Right.
What? Never thought about that. So that's one of those little subtleties. Like, you ask people what their biggest pain points with laundry is, they'll tell you all these other things. Probably, how often does somebody say, "Oh, my biggest pain point with laundry is just doing laundry in general"? They'll talk about coins, they'll talk about this or that. When really the main problem is they just don't want to do laundry at all.
Yeah.
It takes a while for them to arrive at that conclusion. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a way to listen to user feedback, right? And the idea is to take sort of a broad picture and look deeper than the surface, right?
Yeah.
And it goes into like root cause analysis and all that type of stuff. But we almost never will listen to exactly what you say, and we'll look far deeper into what you truly mean. What actually is causing your reaction?
That like that Ryan Levesque, I think was his name. They came out of that book, Ask.
Oh.
He has this approach, the same thing. When you ask somebody what their pain points are, the first couple answers they give you are surface level stuff, and you really got to push and dig, and they got to think about it And then when you get deep down in it, then you find out what the root cause of all the problems are.
Right.
It takes a while to get to that. And
Right.
so, yeah, you gotta know how to dig,
Dig.
you gotta know how to ask.
Yeah. Or you just grill them and knife hand them and say, tell me what you need.
You can see Scott's rendition of the knife hand on the YouTube channel that this will be published on later. All right, man. We're like over 40 minutes now, so we got to get going. Scott, look, great story. Off to a great start. You got some great success. Look forward to seeing your future success. I'm growing in leaps and bounds probably in the next year or so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 2023 will be exciting. So
Absolutely. All right. Good times, and maybe we'll have you back on the show and check back in with you when you're some big rich corporate executive.
God, I hope that's never.
All right. These two Marines are Oscar Mike.